Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Greetings, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing session of the Daily African Proverbs. This is a sacred space that we've been hosting since January of last year. I can't believe it's over a year since we started, doing this. And, one of the people that I admire the most on Clubhouse is Bighani. Bighani is, a leader that just loves to create space where people can pour love into each other. And I am really privileged that Bighani took the time to join us today for an amazing session here of the Daily African Proverbs. And we have a Somali proverb that we are going to dissect and learn from. And every day, whenever we gather here for the Daily African Proverbs, we look at these proverbs and then we imagine what is it that our ancestors would be discussing around these proverbs if it was them that were looking at it today. And whenever I look at these proverbs, I also think about my mother, who actually inspired this Daily African Proverbs, because around the time I was starting this Daily African Proverbs series was also when she had just passed away. So this was my way of using proverbs the way she used to. My mom used to, whenever you made a mistake, she would find a proverb to correct you using a proverb. Whenever you did something great, she would also applaud you using a proverb. So the proverb today says, the bridge is repaired only after someone falls in the water, and there are so many examples in today's life that when I look at this proverb, I get reminded about. For example, the coronavirus pandemic. Even with the Omicron variant, it was until South Africa discovered it that Europe and the rest of the world started jumping around, but it had been there before. It had been there and nobody really cared, but it was until South Africa started announcing that, hey, we discovered a new variant of the coronavirus. So that's another example, and then many times, even in our neighborhoods, in our communities, we know that there is police brutality against people of color, but we don't do anything about it until we see a video, but it's something we know that this is something happening every day, So those are some examples that, indicate what today's proverb could be speaking to. But I'm always a student. Whenever we show up here, I also want to learn. But, I have a special guest here that I want to give a chance to share with us what her thoughts are about this proverb. And also, with African proverbs, these are global conversation starters. So I always like it when it's not someone who has been to Africa that is sharing what their thoughts are about the proverb. So Bighani, thank you again for being here. I would love to hear your thoughts about this proverb. Thanks a lot.
Well, Simon, thank you for inviting me. It's an honor. I've known about your work since last year, and thank you. I'm glad to be here. So when I hear that proverb, I didn't really know what it meant until you started giving examples. And as you were giving your examples, I thought about something as simple as, the times when we find ourselves stagnant in our lives, not really pursuing our dreams because we're so scared, right? We're so scared of judgment and criticism that we don't make that first step. We don't utilize life as, God blessed us with each day. A prime example of that would be, something that happened to me, right? A lot of deaths happen around us, especially during the pandemic last year. And it reminds you that life is not promised to you. So I took that as a way of awakening the giant inside of me, and just pursuing my goals as if, it was my last day on earth. Because, as my great friend James Andrews would say from The Authenticated, he wants to die empty. And essentially, that's the kind of life that I want to live too. Waking up every day, making sure that I express everything that's inside of me. So that's what I think about when I think of the proverb.
Thank you. I'm so happy you mentioned James Andrews. I had no idea you guys were connected, but your vibration and the work you do, the work he does, very similar, very similar. So shout out to him. And one day I hope I can interview him. I actually look up to him. He's such a great leader and orator and DJ. Yeah,
DJ
man.
Rich the Cow.
Man, now I want us to just take a little journey through your life, bighani. Many leaders like you, and many people who are listening to this conversation, and even myself, have one story in our upbringing that still inspires who we are. And that story is what wakes us up in the morning and makes us remember that, hey, even though you feel like staying in the blanket, like it's still early December or late December, it's time to get up. It's January. It's time to do something. For me, the story that always drives me was when I was around 8 years old, and my mother gave me a bicycle. I remember the bicycle had a small front wheel, and the back wheel was big, and the bike had carriers for carrying a lot of luggage, and I joined my mom's team of distributing milk and bread in our neighborhood in the slums of Manyata in Kisumu, Kenya. And so every day by 2 a.m. in the morning, we would receive the consignment, and we would begin distributing it in our neighborhood. So that's how I began learning how to be an entrepreneur, learning how to connect with people, learning how to earn a living in this life. So until today, when you called me, it was 5 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, I don't know this number, but I suspect it could be bighani because, we should be doing something today. So, I had just woken up, it was 5. And I always find it easy to wake up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to get things done. And now that I live in Seattle, I find it easier to stay engaged with the people in Kenya because the time difference is 11 hours. And because I grew up waking up so early, it's helping me a lot now. Many people don't do morning shows. This is a 6 a.m. show. And many guests that I invite are always like, whoa, that's too early for me. But for me, that childhood story is what drives me and reminds me that, hey, while you could be sleeping, there is a reason for you to be awake right now. So bighani has a small technical issue. She's going to join us in just a moment. So I already, placed that story for her to think about, and I'll bring it up when she rejoins me. I just lost her for a moment here. So I want to welcome everybody in the room to the Daily African Proverbs. This is a session that we've been hosting since January last year. And here is bighani. Just bear with me.
I'm so sorry about that. My phone heated up and it
No,
just died.
no problem, man. So I was sharing, the childhood story that continues inspiring me as a leader until today. And did you get all of it, or do you want me to share it again so that we can use that to listen to your
Oh,
story? And
I
then,
got the part when your mom bought you a bicycle and it could fit like luggages in the back.
yes. So that story is what drives me. That story is what, whenever I remember that moment, I want to do what I need to do while I'm still alive, you know?
Mm.
And I wanted you to share with us a similar story in your life, because you get so much done. And I want you to share with us the story that drives who you are as a leader.
Yeah, I think one of my superpowers is being able to connect with people in a very genuine way. There's multiple stories of when I was younger. So I got bullied when I was a kid in elementary school in Cypress Hills, Brooklyn. And the way for me to connect with the bullies was through humor. One of the stories that I remember was, the cool kids, quote unquote, would rap. Like, they're popular, they will rap and stuff like that. So I would go home and just write a lyric, or like write a verse or two, and then I would come back and I would recite rhymes. So, they probably look at me, I'm assuming, and I would think that they look at me like, who's this scrawny little kid reciting these raps, looking the way that I do. And they would find that entertaining. So I think for me, that was an experiment right there, that through humor and through the arts, I was able to connect with people in a genuine way. And I took that with me through junior high school, college, and now. And I think that I enjoy connecting with people, and just, being able to have people meet you at the level of like, listen, let's just vibe. Let's just vibe and connect each other without really saying too much or saying what I need to say, but through a vibe and through an experience. So that is essentially through those experiences I learned that you could do so much by expressing yourself artistically, with people, and connect with them on a genuine level.
Yeah, that's true. Art helps break so many barriers. You know,
Yes.
if you think about Bob Marley, if you think about Tupac Shakur, Fela Kuti, they are long gone, but their music are subjects of conversations even today. In my household, my kids and I still listen to Peter Tosh music, and they ask me questions. What is he saying? What does it mean? so
Mm.
so I totally agree. And I did see a video of you grabbing a mic sometime. I think you are in LA. And I can't wait to see you rap, live and direct someday.
One day,
So
one day.
one day, I want you to speak about Blacktop University. Why did you, how did you end up being a dean for Blacktop University, and what is Blacktop University?
Yeah, so Blacktop University is a school of thought. My mom, she dedicated herself 20 plus years of herself into the childhood education industry, to private, public, and the charter school system. And of course, education was important in my household, and I did go to college. But I always thought that, you know you do learn a lot in school, and education is important. However, people fail to understand that even outside of the classrooms, you do learn a lot. Real life lessons and stuff that you learn from your grandmother, proverbs, things that they don't consider like a systematic, like program that they put in the schools. I learned a lot from in real life situations. So then I thought of a concept called Blacktop University, and blacktop is the material that you use to make the roads. And universe, the way I spelled it, is universe and then city. So cities all over the world. And I just call myself a dean. Well, the community called me a dean. They're like, yeah, you're the dean of Blacktop University, and it's basically a school of thought where, as I said, learn from the things that life teaches you, life lessons, and also um, we create platforms for people to express their gifts of genius and express their talents every single day. And that's pretty much the concept of Blacktop University.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now I
Thank you.
get it. we should have versions of it in all over the world, really, because I feel that there's so much knowledge shared in the streets, so much
Mhm.
knowledge shared amongst creatives and artists that is not respected as scholarly knowledge. So I love how you took your mom's work and inspiration and brought it to the current world and into the future. um
Mhm.
I just want everybody who is joining us today for the Daily African Proverbs, especially those on Clubhouse, to know that in about 14 minutes we will be hearing from you as well. We will be creating space for you to you know share your perspectives and maybe share comments or ask Bighani a question in relation to all the conversations that we've been having today. And I also want to encourage you to join us on YouTube. The link to the YouTube live stream is at the top of the room. I would love for you to join us there and leave your comments. Let us know what today's proverb means to you, and also let us know what your thoughts are about Blacktop University and everything you're listening to so far. But now I want us to go to the love bomb rooms. This is one of the spaces where we've interacted the most, Bighani. And the first time I came to one of the love bomb rooms, I didn't expect it. And I didn't expect to be showered with so much love and compliments, and it felt so great. And I always want to return because of that. But I also want to do similar things to people. I want to surprise people with how great they are. Tell me more where this started and where it's going.
Okay, to be very, very honest with you, the Love Bomb Room was created accidentally. Because when I first discovered Clubhouse, I got on it and I was like, let me just, again, I like humor and I wanted to roast people when I got on there. I was like, let me just roast people. Not in an offensive way, obviously not. But, it's a culture. So whoever's a part of the culture, you roast them, they roast you back and it's no offense, right? But this was during the pandemic, the lockdown, and I was really I was like experimental and also curious. I was like, what would the reaction be of the people if I complimented them, if I roasted them with compliments? And that day changed my life because the reaction that I got from, the one young lady who like was tearing up, I never, never, ever forgot it. I never felt that before. And I was like, I really want to do this room every day. And from then to like now, I mean, I allowed the room to pretty much shape me, shape my character. I learned a lot just by interacting with so many people. That's a year of meeting so many people from all over the world and understanding one another and being patient. I learned the concept of giving people grace through people in the community that I met this year. I learned so much, and I allowed the room to be an opportunity for me to grow and expand on many different levels. And yeah, and then we started to do the live events. The first event was in my hometown, New York City, and then the second event was in Los Angeles, which we raised as a community $12,000 to donate to the Boys and Girls Club of Hollywood, where we pretty much were able to sponsor 12 kids $1,000 each. And being able to sponsor them into programs that would advance them in life. So that's a year of sponsoring them and putting them in programs. And that's just like a year that we compiled and did that. We did an interview with Matthew Knowles, who was Beyonce's dad and manager at one point. So we've done a lot, and we've done so much. And I'm just like very speechless, honestly, most of the time, because, if you really think about it, I did the room unexpectedly, and it just propelled me into positions of being able to meet so many people and push the culture forward, because it is very arts driven, it is very music driven, it is very comedy driven, and more than that, we do learn a lot about each other on a human level.
I love that. And it's amazing what you're able to do for those, for those kids. Congratulations. I always love creatives who use their platforms and their community to empower other young kids. If it was not for other creatives, other DJs, I would have never been who I am today. I would have probably been a teacher. Well, a teacher is a creative too, but I would have probably been in a different kind of profession. But I grew up in an environment where there were dancers and DJs showing up all the time, but showing up with the goodies they had won at like a dance competition and sharing it with the community. So, what you did is very, very close to my heart. I would love to explore that a little more. But,
Don't worry, we're going to take it to Seattle. Don't worry.
We should, and take it all the way to Kenya too, in Kenya.
We're going to Ghana in December.
Oh, December
Ghana
next year?
This year.
This year. Well, we should talk. We should.
Yeah, Ghana, and we're going to go to London, United Kingdom in April.
Oh,
the tickets
wow.
are already on sale, yeah.
Wow. Well, there's a lot we need to talk about, but I would definitely love for you to visit Kenya. And when you're in Ghana, I want to connect you with a few people. I don't know, you know Aja, right?
Aja, what's their last
She's a
name?
poet, Aja Monet.
Oh, I heard a lot about her. I heard a lot of
She-
great things about her.
Yeah, she was to be a clubhouse icon, but there were many, many stories that happened that made it not happen. Anyhow, she's in Ghana right now, and I was talking to her yesterday, and I was able to introduce her to two amazing people that you need to meet when you're in Ghana next time.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk. Because
Yeah.
how far is Ghana from Kenya?
Oh, it's far. Africa is huge. It's probably 8-hour flight, but the logistics of it is well, it's not far. Let me just take back everything I just said, because I want you to make it. It's a flight away. I'll sum it up like that. It's a flight away. But there's also Kenya Airways operates between Ghana and Nairobi, so it should not be such a big challenge. But it's probably pricey. It's probably the same price that you paid from traveling from the US to Ghana. I think that's the big difference. But I want to connect because I do group travels from the US and the diaspora to Kenya annually. So I want to connect about that. And also, I run an education, music, and art program in Kenya. So,
Wow. We definitely have to connect then.
Yeah, so for years I've been bringing artists from across the world to Kenya, and we've been doing festivals, but also they've been involved with workshops, as part of part of the package for the festivals is artists have to spend a week teaching and engaging with the community, creating projects together. Like we've recorded an album together with some of the artists. There's an artist from New York that I actually need to introduce you to. He's from Iran originally, but he lives in New York. He's worked with Def Jam and quite a few of the... His name is... You probably know him already. Mazi, Soul Purpose.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I heard of him, and And I don't know if you've heard of Mariana Ba.
Oh, she's here in the room. I'll just bring her on stage.
Yeah, bring her up,
I-
because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have had the idea to go to Africa, because I've always
Mm,
wanted to Africa. And Mariana Ba is one of the, well, she's the founder of Late Nights Early Mornings, which is one of the biggest clubs on Clubhouse. And when I first got on Clubhouse, she welcomed me with open arms, and she tweeted, she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to Africa." I was like, "Take me with you." And
mm.
then yeah, we're here. So big shout out to Mariana Ba. If she's in the room, you said, right? Because I can't see my phone.
Yeah, she's in the clubhouse room where we are, and also another person that is in the room is Joseph Kafunda, who co-hosts with me a travel room every Wednesday on Clubhouse, where we partly talk about this annual trip that I organize, but we also we take a journey across Africa. There are many travel gems, places that people don't typically travel to, but they're places that people should travel to. And he's gone to almost every country in Africa. So him, along
Wow.
with other people, join us, other travel enthusiasts from across the world join us, and we talk about these places. So every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. he will speak to that in a moment. But I also know that you've been featured on some amazing uh, mainstream media outlets. Your work is respected. Why did you choose to have this conversation with me, who runs just a small podcast and an independent movement? Why was this conversation important to you?
The conversation is important to bridge the gap between the illusions of what's big and what's small. Because for me, what's important is connecting with genuine people. Um, because even though you may put a label on it like small, because in retrospect, I could be considered small to, let's say, like a big corporation, but I don't want to have that mentality. I just want to have the mentality of like, hey, I have something great to offer to the world, similar to you, because I've seen most of your rooms, Simon. Like, you've interviewed a lot of fire people on this app. So that's how I view you, people like you, and just being able to connect. And you love the arts, and I'm a big I'm a big advocate for collaboration. you know so I think it's just, I also believe in grassroots, like, not really jumping on everything that's like considered quote unquote big or whatever, but it's important to touch people. And I don't think you're small, Simon, because I've seen the people that come through your room, and your following reach is pretty big in a sense of impact. And that's what I focus on. I focus more on impact, how impactful your vision is, how impactful your movement is, how impactful your vision is. So I know you spoke about your mom, and I'm very big on family as well, and those kind of things you feel, on a spirit level. So that's what I'm more connected to.
Thank you so much, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful, and I want you to think about how everyone who is listening right now can also support your work. What are some of the projects that you're currently pushing, and how can people who are listening and watching our conversation today can be a part of it? But I am going to turn off fundraising in about 2 minutes. So if you are in the audience on Clubhouse and you want to join us on stage and share your perspectives, this is a good time. And this is the Daily African Proverbs. This is a space that we have been cultivating since January last year. I joined Clubhouse on January 1st. And so I celebrated my Clubhouse anniversary recently, but about 6 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. About 6 months ago, we began live streaming these conversations onto YouTube, because there's a big portion of our community that is not on Clubhouse, and they are not interested, but they are interested in gaining African wisdom, which is why we host the daily African Proverbs. So to those who are watching on YouTube, thank you for all the support. Please remember to continue subscribing and sharing this video with the rest of our community, and also push the bell, the notification button, so that when we have this conversation tomorrow, you can also join us, so that, for me, I believe that we can change the world one conversation at a time, one African proverb at a time, because, throughout the media that we consume, there's so much that is intentionally created to keep us divided, to keep us hating each other. And I completely believe that the African proverbs that we have and share with you every day, this is something that is meant to unite us, to bring us together, but also to deepen our understanding of each other and our understanding of who we are, And some of the people that I host here on a weekly basis, for example, on Thursdays, I host Gogo Rutendo Ngara, who is a well-known spiritual leader in South Africa. She's from Zimbabwe originally. And if I was not pushing African proverbs, I would have never met with her. But she's someone who, has traveled across the world, and she was inspired by a number of activists and authors who are no longer with us but are of African descent, and now she's carrying on the message. I was introduced to her by Jay Naidu, who is the former Minister of Communication for South Africa, and they both continue supporting this room, So this is a space that is valued by elders who are in their 80s, who just heard about it once. I interviewed them once, and they started introducing me to key people. So I don't take this work for granted.
That's amazing, by the way, Simon.
Thank you.
You're doing amazing work.
Thank you so much. Now, I want to open the space for our audience members to just share their thoughts on this proverb, and also if they have any comment, to you, Bighani, and then after that, Bighani, you're going to close the session with your closing remarks of everything you've heard people say, and also with how people can stay connected with you. Okay. So now we want to hear from beautiful Soul. I hope you're doing well. Share with us, your comments, and then we'll go to Fred and Bibi and Dr. Wanda and Joseph, and then we'll go to Emery. Thank you so much.
Good morning, kings and queens, and Simon, thank you so much for bringing me up to the stage. I'm so happy to be back. I keep missing this room, but I loved it in the morning. It was like my morning breakfast. I just appreciate speaking to you guys, just being here in the room and just soaking in. The proverb, the bridge is repaired only when someone falls in the water. I'm still pondering on that. It's eating at me in a way where it's like, it's kind of like you have to take responsibility. If you see something, you kind of have to say something. If you know better, you have to do better. It's one of those things. It's growth, and it's not just in the everyday. It's in your consistency. It's in your walk. So I don't want to keep blabbering, but I'm just appreciating hearing the excellence and the good that you guys are doing, and keep succeeding in this new year. Beautiful Soul, and I am muting myself.
Thank you so much, beautiful Soul. I appreciate your contribution. Let's hear from Fred. Fred, what are your thoughts on today's proverb from Somalia?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we hear you very clearly. Thank you so much.
Great. Love the room. Just happened to be up working, and I just signed up for your YouTube. So I tend to go look at etymology, but over the years, I kind of developed my own definition of certain things by different resources. I was brought up in the church, but I'm no longer a Christian. But a lot of symbolism I picked up through the years. So when I look at this, the bridge is repaired only after someone falls in the water. The word water, if you do your research, and which I've done and simplified it, the word water simply means problems or situations caused by people.
Mm.
So, for example, with Jesus walking on the water and the Peter in the boat and all that good stuff, 12 people in the boat. If you talk to psychologists, there's 12 types of people in the world. That boat was a mindset. They would toss and turn it. The water was situations caused by people. And you hear phrases out here that have spiritual connotations to it, to where they say, man, you got to stay on top of your game. What does that mean? You got to understand the people and stay on and keep your head above all the problems. Don't worry about all this stuff or whatever. Stay focused on yourself and not what other people say. So again, water is a situation caused by people. Matter of fact, earlier someone mentioned about I think it was Begun Energy about flowing. When you're in your flow, when the DJ's in the flow, what does that mean? He put on music and the people are grooving with him, meaning he's controlling the people, making them flow. Hence water. So again, water is situation or problems caused by people. Now you got the word bridge. If you look at the word bridge, bridge builder, poem, or whatever, is a channel of communication or a path. Does that mean the physical thing you walk on? No, it's about navigating through people. Life is
Mm.
affected by people. So this communication or this path that we tend to set may not work for everybody. So on occasion, you're going to have somebody that's going to veer off. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
wonder how that person veered off, why that person veered off. I'm a communication professional myself. And you tend to say, okay, let me look at that one. Let me adjust my communication in this path to make sure this don't happen again. So in communication, we always know if we have a certain goal, we have a certain result we want to achieve, we got to make sure that our path or our communication or our directives hits that person that we want to hit. I myself was always that way. Somebody said, "Oh, you got to do this way." And I'm like, "Why I want to do that? This don't work for me. Let me do
Mm.
this." So that the bridge is repaired only after someone falls in the water. Then you got to look at repaired. Repair don't necessarily mean fix. If you look at the word pair, you got the word pairing, which means connecting. Then you got re, which means again, to connect again.
Mm.
So the bridge is only repaired only after someone falls in the water. That means somebody, the guide or the communication or path you provided to everyone may not work for everybody. And when it doesn't work for everybody, and you see this is how to adjust it, you just connect it again. That's all that means to me.
Yeah,
But
that's
I'm gonna go back to what Simon you said some earlier, Simon, about being small, and the guy that took my word impact. That's how I live. Small, your one word. It's funny you say small, then you turn around and say you're trying to change the world. That ain't small. That
Mm.
ain't small. You resonating, and I love it. So yeah, that's the way I see that proverb.
well. Thank you so much, Fred. Bigani, go ahead. I think you have something to add to this.
Oh no, I'm enjoying what they have to say. I'm listening.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah, Fred, thank you. You remind me so much about Gogo Rutendo Ngara, whom I host every Thursday. And she literally dissects these proverbs. She takes one proverb and talks for 15 minutes about it. She breaks it down like that. And it's just fascinating to listen to, you know, enlightened people talk about these proverbs.
Well,
So
like we look at the word proverb. Do you know what the word proverb means?
you tell us what it means.
You got verb, which is action. Then you got the word pro. So word proverb is it's a a professional action word or action of profession. You profess
I
it and
gotta
you take
follow
act
this
on it.
guy back.
So I
Yeah, go ahead, Bigani.
No, I was saying I gotta follow this guy back. Who is this guy?
His name is Fred.
I hit you up, Begani, on Instagram. That was me hitting you up. So that's the one thing I'm in marketing. And if you look at marketing, the word marketing really means magic.
Mm.
As a marketing and advertising professional, I can make you do anything I want you to do if I know the magic. Where's the magic?
Mm.
Proverbs. So just
That's
changing one word at a time. Oh, that's a powerful thing. That's like they say. What is it? I don't know if it's an African proverb, but they say, "What's the best way to eat an elephant? A small bite at a time."
yeah, yeah.
So I'm not gonna take 15 minutes, but that's it.
No, 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 no. What's important, really, again, this is to everyone who is watching and listening now or later, is that the Daily African Proverbs is a village, and the
Mm.
inspiration about it from the very beginning over a year ago, and before I brought the Daily African Proverbs to Clubhouse, it's a staple that was used by my mother and my many people in African households use these proverbs to educate, to empower their children, and so that's where I began learning these proverbs. But since I began bringing it to these spaces, I've been a student. At the beginning of these rooms, I share my own interpretation, but by the end of it, I've learned so much. So thank you, my brother Fred, for sharing with us, quite a
Can I
lot.
share? Can I share one more thing?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
You mentioned this Blacktop University thing in fire. Just I just heard about it. So growing up, there's a difference between an educated man and a learned man.
Mm.
And a learned man is educated by street knowledge. And if you go down, you can take an educated person with all their master's degrees, where I have one. You take them out time to take them down to a community or a culture of people that might not have those degrees, but they go into the culture not knowing a degree. And where I'm from, they call them country dumb.
Mm.
The difference between learned man and educated man is that learned man learned the people how to deal with life and how to excel through that. The educated man just stared at books all day. So that
Mm.
Blacktop University, that thing fire. That thing fire.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Excellent, excellent. Now, let's go to Bibi. Bibi is also an amazing supporter of the Daily African Proverbs. Bibi, share with us your perspectives on today's proverb from Somalia. The proverb says, "The bridge is repaired only after someone falls in the water."
Thank you, Simon. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Well, it's morning here, so good morning, y'all. Um, Thanks, Simon, for inviting me. And yes, I would take this proverb as and use health as the bridge. Many people don't take care of their health or
Mm.
themselves until they get sick, or the smart ones, when someone else gets sick, they'll consider about themselves as well. But in short, people should really take care of themselves, whether they're healthy or sick or not. But just take care of yourselves. That way, you won't need to be repaired when you've been broken. And that's my simple interpretation. And I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bibi. Thank you for being here with us. And Happy New Year. Dr. Wanda, what are your thoughts about today's proverb? Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. It's so wonderful to be here again. Happy, prosperous New Year to everyone. Missed you all so much. And actually, even people were asking about this room during the time that it was out. And so they'll be glad to have it back as well. So the proverb, the bridge is repaired only after someone falls in the water. It's just very true in the fact that often we ignore problems. We see the problems. The problems are actually pretty big, and we kind of call them in America the elephant in the room. But we ignore them, we walk around them, we cover them up, we pretend that it's not there. And only when it becomes so big and so impactful, it really impedes life, do people even do anything about them? And even then, sometimes people still don't repair the bridge. It could still stay broken. There's like another saying this reminds me of where it says, you only change when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change. Because changing something, fixing something, it's painful, it's a process, it's a lot of work, and people just don't want to do it. So we will ignore, the bridge being broken. We just ignore it and just pass it by. I mean, and people ignore a lot of things. I was one time in a taxi, and the driver showed me this ginormous knot on his leg. Now, yeah, I'm a doctor, a PhD, but I'm not an MD. So why he was showing me this, I have no idea. And then why did he let this knot get so big? And then he's just showing it to random strangers. The same thing. Now, once something like that starts hurting a person, then they will go, you know. And that just applies to so many things. And I'm complete.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Wanda, for sharing your perspectives as well. I'm so happy that you're here. Let's hear from Joseph. Joseph, share with us your perspectives on the proverb and also speak to the hidden travel gems that we host every Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simon. Good day, everyone. It's almost sunset here in Namibia. Today it's one of the shortest month in the southwest Africa. Yeah, Simon. Today's Proverbs, it took me back to growing up in a little small village where we had to look at the chief, the king, for them to react towards a problem that we're facing in a village. They need to be one of them, something happened to them. And when something happened to them as a problem, then they will look at that and try to find the solutions. And if I look at how we used to live in back days and look at today's world, how we live today, one can realize that the world is trying to change and trying to evolve by correcting the mistake and the wrongdoing that we have been doing. But we might be a little bit too late, or we might be on time to save our world the way it is. So the Proverbs speak quite louder, and it has a very, very powerful message, because we have been destroying, we have been destructing what is ahead of us or what is in front of us, not knowing exactly how we can be able to repay it. Look at what is basically what is happening with COVID-19. We are trying to gap the bridge because we have fallen down into it, or we have fallen into the water. And falling down into that water, we find ourselves in deep economical recessions. We find ourselves, a lot of us, jobless, and we are trying to build now that bridge so that we can come back, but it's always a little bit too late. So the message here is very, very clear and powerful. We have to start now by connecting each other so that that bridge can stay connected. No one should be fallen or fall into the water, because once you fall into that water, to build or reconnect that bridge is going to take us a lot of years. Let's save the world that we so much loved by protecting it, by minimizing what we do in our daily life. That is my humble request for today. And that's how the Proverbs speak to me. Uh, on another, the three gem of Africa, it's tomorrow. I believe it's tomorrow. I have so much that I have to share. And in my little travel time during December, I travel a couple of times here and there, but it's going to be a wonderful session that we're going to be hosting tomorrow, where we're going to be speaking to the rest of the world and the rest of Africa, tour operators, activity operators, those who have been traveling Africa by knowing where they can be able to go and how special that place is connected to them. So tomorrow it's going to be such a wonderful, powerful sessions in the afternoon, and I look forward to that because I can't miss the daily African proverbs, and I can't miss the three African gems that we have to share tomorrow with. So I look to travel tomorrow, and I look to experience a new country tomorrow. Traveling to 32 countries, it's not enough. So I've made myself a promise this year to travel at least to 2 countries so that I can add to my 32. So I hope it's going to happen beside the circumstances or the life that we live in today. So I'm done speaking. My name is Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph, for being here with us, and thank you, to all the contributors who have contributed so far here in the Daily African Proverbs. I am hosting the amazing Bighani Energy, who is the founder of Blacktop University and the founder of the Love Bomb Rooms. And you're going to hear her voice in a moment. Let's quickly hear from Christina, who is our last guest on stage. Christina, share with us your interpretation of this proverb from Somalia that says the bridge is repaired only after someone falls in the water. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's been a little while since I've been in this room, but it's lovely to be back. As far as my interpretation, it was similar to that of Bibi as far as health, but I'll take one step further and focus mostly on mental health, because I feel like physical health, yes, we ignore it, but mental health, it's as if it doesn't exist. Especially the mental health of children. Often we, as parents, don't even notice that our children are going through something, whether it's because they don't tell us, which is fair, or they don't feel safe, or we're just so busy trying to keep them alive, we don't think about that portion. But with the amount of children that are now harming themselves from bullying or racism or whatever is going on, we really need to dial in with our children a little bit more, which may seem daunting, but just dialing in with them a little bit more to help save their lives at this point. I'm Christina, and that's all I have.
Wow, Christina, thank you. Thank you again for making the time to join us today. I haven't seen you in a while too, and I'm grateful that you chose to spend your morning with us. I have been having coffee and just enjoying this conversation. I'm having coffee in a One Vibe Africa mug. This mug is available on my Shopify store, So
I love that.
yeah, I believe in branding, similar to what Fred was saying. Is it Fred? Yeah, Fred. And so I have a huge Shopify store where One Vibe Africa merchandise is available. If you want to support, that's a good way for you to support this movement. I always have something related to that store during this show. Tomorrow I'll have something else, so don't worry. But
Yeah.
these are high quality stuff, and I just want you all to have something good to wake up to. Besides the Proverbs, what do you have in your hands while you're listening to such an important conversation, and where is it from? So you need to think about that. But I'm also in a conversation with African Coffee Club. So from the next few days, what is going to be inside here is going to be strictly coffee from African Coffee Club, which sources coffee from all over Africa and brings it to the US. And so all of you will be able to get African coffee through African Coffee Club, and I'll let you know how. But for now, I want to bring us back to this amazing conversation that I've been having with my friend Bighani Energy, who is someone I have so much love and respect for. We've learned a lot. We've learned about, how art was an outlet for her when she was experiencing bullying, and how she was able to use art to organize, and how she's using it now. We've learned so much from each one of you in this room, and at the beginning of the room I shared that this proverb is really a reminder to all of us that we should always there's another Kiswahili proverb that says ziba ufa kabla ujenge ukuta. It means seal the crack before you have to build the entire wall, and so I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to be here with you, and I'm excited for you to support Bighani as well. Bighani, share with us what you have going on that needs eyes and ears and hands, and then share with us how people can support you by following you on these social media streets.
Yeah, so thank you again. This has been a lovely conversation. First thing would be by following me, because I announce most of my work via Instagram. That's my way as of now. And then you can find all of the things that I'm doing for 2022 in my link tree, which is the link in my attached to my Instagram bio. April, we're headed to see our family in London, United Kingdom. And when I say family, I did build a rapport with people from the UK massive on the other side of the pond, as they would say. Um, Tickets are officially on sale. I made the link live yesterday, so you can find that link in my link tree. And also, again, big shout out to Mariana Ba. She should be in this room, as you said. She's the founder of Late Nights, Early Mornings. Actually, Simon, that's a person that you should interview actually for your future
I know,
interviews.
I know, I know, I know. I need you to connect us, and
We're
also
gonna
the Angry Medium is here. I want to interview both.
shout out to the Hungry
They
Medium.
are right next
Yeah,
to
those
each
are
other.
both my boo. Yeah, those are both my babies. So
I
so look,
know.
so it's because of Mariana that I came up with the idea of taking hashtag catch these compliments to Ghana, one of the countries of Africa, and we'll be going December 2022. The link to register for that is live as well. We've already had a couple of submissions, so people's really highly interested in Africa and going to Ghana. Um, and when we go there, we're gonna do the excursions and stuff like that. And you know plus, in addition to that, I did want to bring what we did in not only New York and Los Angeles, but there in the country of Ghana, and connecting with local families and children, to see how we could help and support those in need. So that's what I'm doing, and also a couple of more things that I can't announce as of yet, until everything's signed, and the paperwork is ready, and then I could announce the things. But just know that it's very arts driven and youth driven, and yeah, and that's it. And let's see, what else can you I think that's it. I mean, I'm gonna start doing the love bomb rooms again, maybe not as much as I used to, but definitely people have been asking for the rooms on Clubhouse. And yeah, just to drop a hint, is not a movie, because if you know me, I'm always like, yo, it's a movie, meaning like, man, it's lit. But someone corrected me in the community and said it's more than a movie, it's a documentary. And I'm gonna drop my mic right there.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that, especially because I love creating documentaries. I love, producing and directing documentaries. And so I just love how you elevated documentaries beyond movies, because it's real life. It's real life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our official hashtag is hashtag catch these compliments.
Okay.
And it's within the Love Bomb Room brand, produced by Blacktop University and presented by Ramser Group. And yeah, that's it. And I'm so thankful to you, Simon. We're gonna talk about, possibly collaborating and doing things in Africa.
I would love that. I would love that. I can't wait. I can't
Seattle, and
wait.
Seattle.
I can't wait. You'll hear from me. And again, to everybody else, thank you so much. This session is going to be available in the African Father in America podcast. It's going to be our latest episode, available in about an hour. But you can also catch it here on Clubhouse as a replay, and also on YouTube. My channel is pinned at the top of the room. You have a few, maybe a minute to tap that link at the top of the room, subscribe to the channel, and support, and also you can go to my Instagram account. This proverb is also the latest post there, and the community members who can't make it to this conversation or YouTube typically just engage by commenting with their interpretations, and I always reply to every interpretation there, because for me it's truly about building genuine relationships, and from those relationships literally changing the world using these proverbs. So thank you again for being here, Bighani. Take good care of yourself. Peace and love.
Thank you, Simon. I appreciate you so much. Peace and love.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze,